All right, we'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council. It is 6:30 p.m. on May 23rd, 2023, and we are meeting in the council chambers of West Valley City Hall. We'd like to excuse Councilman Fitzsimmons tonight and note that Councilman Harmon is online with us. And at the dais, we have Councilman Whetstone, Councilman Hoon, Councilman Christensen, Councilman Norfelt, and myself. And then we have our city manager, Mr. Pyle, and our city recorder, Ms. Kamick. I will now turn the time over to Councilman Christensen for our opening ceremony.
Thank you, Mayor. Would you please all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we would like to welcome our Salt Lake County Council member, Suzanne Harrison, and she's with us tonight. So thank you for joining us. I'll now turn the minutes of May 16th, 2023 to the council for discussion or a motion.
Move to approve the minutes of May 16th.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Okay, and those minutes pass. We will now go to our awards and ceremonies. And tonight we have the honor of recognizing two of students that go to American Preparatory School. Can you two come up? It's Daniel. Let me find my right papers. Daniel Christensen and Dylan Ullman. And you want to face, I don't know, face the audience. Why not? We'll let you look at them all night. And the people and your parents can take pictures. So tonight we have the honor of recognizing two students from West Valley City who are finalists in the National Merit Program this year. I'd like to, oh, that's already done. Both attend American Preparatory Academy. Each year, the National Merit Scholarship Corporation screens approximately 1.5 million qualifying entrants. And these students, the students who score in the top 3 to 4% on their PSAT are named National Merit Commended Student or Scholars. Test takers who score in the top 1% are named semifinalists. And of the 15,000 semifinalists, 2,500 are named finalists. So students selected as finalists are considered to be the top 2,500 high school students in the nation. Both Daniel and Dylan are finalists this year. On average, there are between 12 to 15 finalists in Utah. This year, Daniel and Dylan did an amazing job representing West Valley City. We as a council would like to recognize this incredible achievement and offer our congratulations. We are looking forward to see what this success brings to you in the coming years. Congratulations. So if you'll come up. Thank you, Dylan. And let me give you this certificate. Thank you, Daniel. Good job. And there's your certificate. And then if you'll come back up here, we'll all squish together and take a parent or picture and let your parents take pictures.
I'll get out of all your way in a second. Okay, 1, 2. And 3.
Thank you. And thank you for coming to our council meeting so we could recognize you. I appreciate that. All right, we'll now go to our public comment period. Public comment is limited to 30 minutes. Any person wishing to comment shall limit their comments to 5 minutes. Upon recognition by the mayor, you will approach the microphone. If you did not sign up, please give us your name and address at the mic. Otherwise, just give us your name when you get to the mic. No person addressing the city council during the comment period shall be allowed to comment more than once during the comment period. Speakers should not expect a debate with the mayor, council, or staff. Mayor, council, and staff will have time to reply within the 30-minute period. So we'll now go to the public comments. And on our sign-up sheet, we'll ask speaker 1 to come up to the mic.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. My name is Kelly Bertosh, 5954 West Designer Circle. I'm not going to apologize one bit for last week's comments. And I'd like to know who, even you, Chief, who called my family members to check on my well-being. Now, you guys like to separate families? Is that what you like to do? Split, divide families? Because that's exactly what each one of you guys did. You just tore a hole in my family's tear apart. So I'd like to know who called my son on the police department. I want to know who sigged them on me, because that just opened all of you up for lawsuits. Every one of you. Because you didn't like the comments I had to say last week. Well, Tom, I've never said one bad word about you, but I'm going to tonight. And that's because you opened your mouth at the end of the meeting and started bad mouthing me to protect your mayor.
So, Mr. Bertosh, I'm going to ask you to not attack.
I'm not attacking no
members
one.
or staff.
I am telling you, he attacked me. And Mr. Mayor, I don't appreciate your comment right there, because I wasn't attacking no one. I was very calm, relaxed, and very firm. But I'm really having an issue of how you guys are running this city. I want to know how many perks each one of you are getting. And I'm going to file a state audit against you for the state auditors to go after each one of you to find out what you're getting in your pocket to making all these shady deals. Especially you, Mr. Christensen, for some of your activities that you've created in the past of watching you vote. And last week I requested for your resignation, along with a couple others. And I think that's what we need to do is clean house here. Now, I know there were some comments made that I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, that piece of property down there where you was talking about rezoning, it wasn't a junkyard. It was never a junkyard. That used to be right there. There's a house on the corner of that street of 5600 West and 27th. And there was never a junkyard there. The junkyards were more north by the canal. So I know my facts. I was born and raised here. I know almost every inch of Hunter. And I know a lot of Granger. You know, we was a good city when it was Salt Lake County. It was a good city. Why people wanted to vote for this is beyond me. Because what we've got here is a painting place. Like rolling your eyes at me.
No, I'm just thinking.
But again, you know, my bark out of my voice is no different than your looks of what you give me sometimes. I'm not afraid to say it. You know, your qualified immunities are not protected under a lot of this stuff. You guys work for us, the public. We are your bosses. We are your mentors. It's not what we're getting in our pockets to do shady deeds and making all this high density. High density, high density. Where's our history of this grounds? Like I said last time, instead of building all these big freaking Taj Mahal, put aside property for the people to grow fruit and vegetables, to make themselves standing, to make them work and be a part of the city, instead of, oh, we'll stick up another high rise. That makes sense to me. Because this used to be the Greenbelt area. All Hunter, Granger, Chesterfield was a wild town where I know a lot of homes used to have dirt floors. And their daughters were fighters just as well as the boys. It was a rough territory. But guess what? We all got along back then when it was Salt Lake County. And guess what? Salt Lake County listened to the people. I remember Randy Huiatu or whatever his name was would always come up and talk to people. He showed himself every event.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pratash. All right, speaker 2.
Hello, thank you so much for letting me have a few minutes. My name is Suzanne Harrison. I'm a newly elected at-large member of the Salt Lake County Council, and I wanted to come introduce myself to you all, but also to the folks who are visiting today. Thank you for your service, mayor, council members, and staff. I know it takes a lot to do what you do, and I really appreciate it. And please don't hesitate to reach out to me as a county council member in our shared constituency, how I can help serve beside you. And please don't hesitate to reach out anytime. I left some of my cards with email and so forth. And I also wanted to just draw your attention and maybe ask for your help with something I've been working on at the county. This year, we received approved funding to create an additional insert to go into the notice of valuation mailings that will go out to every property owner. And the purpose is this: a lot of people are struggling right now with cost of living and an assortment of financial stress. And there's many assistance programs, but also tax relief programs that people may be eligible for that they may just not know about. So if you could help us get the word out about tax relief and also other assistance programs, we'd be so grateful. If you have youth groups or other ways to engage with the community and getting the word out, we're going to have a flyer in the notice of evaluation, and you can go to slco.to/assistance programs to see an assortment of assistance programs that people may be eligible for, including links to how to apply for rental relief and tax relief. And with that, thank you so much for your service, and I look forward to engaging with you more on projects that are important to you and our shared constituents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Speaker 3.
Hi, my name is Elise Christensen, and I was here a few meetings ago to introduce the idea of West Valley doing a Constitution reading during Constitution Week, and I just came to follow up with what the next actions that we've taken. So we've met with the Youth Council, and they were excited about the event, and we were hoping to schedule the event for Thursday, September 14th. And when we were with the Youth Council, they wanted to make sure that there was a room available in City Hall for the event. I have a resolution that we were wanting to give to you all so that you could know more about the so that's what we've been doing with it. And thank you, City Council, especially Mayor Ling, for your support and encouragement with this event. It's been very fun to work with this and see how the city works. Thank you for helping us help set up this event so that West Valley can have it to celebrate our founding government.
Okay, thank you. Speaker 4.
I'm Mike Markham. As I started last week talking about the 15, maybe 20 years I've been coming to the council meetings and making comments, and I've fought a few battles, and won one and lost a bunch. But, you know, I fought, like I said last week, I fought for concrete instead of gravel. I fought for some unmaintained property that was down here on Lancer Way, and I've managed to pull it off to where it is now a nice subdivision on Lancer Way. It was a piece of property that was not being maintained. And then my most recent battle was to get actual landscape rock rather than gravel put in as a landscape material. I lost that one, but you know, all the things I've come to the city about, I don't know that I've ever come to degrade the city, put the city down. As I mentioned to the mayor one time that I've had constituents come and want to know why I've stayed in West Valley as long as I have. I've lived in my house. I bought it brand new in '74. I've kind of gone along with all the tax increases that have been passed along. Don't agree with them all, but it's like I said, I didn't want to give anything up because we have a pretty nice life out here with what's going on. I'm a huge supporter, maybe overboard supporter of the community development program that we've got here. I'd like to see more emphasis put on it, but I guess we're doing okay because I drive all over this valley, and trust me, if our name was something else, we wouldn't be being looked down at like we are now because of the violence and stuff, because the violence is every place. And there are some real crap old yards all over this valley. I don't care where you go. I've been up in Pepperwood, up in the high end areas up there, and there's some nasty places there. There's some nasty places, Sandy, Draper, Riverton, because the little part-time job I have takes me to all these communities. I've been in Park City. I was working with a guy in Park City one day. I fixed his grill for free. He asked me if I'd like a bottle of wine to take home, or he asked me if I'd like some wine. And I says, well, not this early in the day and this far from home. So he took me down into his wine cellar and gave me a nice bottle of wine. So I've met nice people all over the valley, but I've also met some horses behinders. Doesn't matter what you can do to please them. You know, for me, if I go to somebody's house to do a repair or whatever, right off the bat, if they start treating me bad, I do the bare minimum for my job. I don't go overboard. I don't do what I would normally do if it's people treat me good. But I just want everybody up there to know that, you know, the only thing I've ever fought for with this city is for betterment, not to degrade it, not to run it down. I'd like to see some additional things done, but with tax base and so forth, I guess we're doing the best we can with what we have. So to those, like I said last week, I've made some friends, I've made some enemies. Apologize to y'all if there's any of you here that's I've made an enemy. I know I got them in my neighborhood, but I don't care. So thanks for what you do.
Thank you. Speaker 5.
Jim Visak, I told I was speaker 5, so. 5491 West Lockwood Drive, West Valley City. Mayor, you can grand wink, do whatever you want to me. First, I want to start off with, there's 50 million reasons why we should change the form of government. For the ones that are questioning or saying we don't need to change it, or the people that I'm talking to, they don't want it changed. What is your fear about letting it go on the ballot? Letting people go out and do their own research or have your own meetings, talking to people. If what you're hearing is true, it won't pass. But at least let us have the opportunity to vote on it. What is it going to hurt? If, you know, then there's 50 million reasons why. Next, we had a presentation from Park and Rec on the new bike and pump track. Let's hope that this one is built better than the previous one that started falling apart from the beginning and had weeds. Last year, there were 6-foot weeds around it and the kids can't use it. It will get used if it's maintained and upkeep is done on it. You're gonna later on, and it's not something that has a public question or able to speak on, is the hotel tax to 2%. It won't affect me because I don't stay in hotels, but my biggest issue on that is we don't have control of the money. It's given to an entity in the hotel factor, and they can do whatever they want with it. Yes, it's supposed to bring in tourism, but they can manipulate those funds around it. I don't see how it's going to benefit West Valley City. A couple months ago, Deloy, the head of the Wasatch Group, did a presentation for council. Many of you were there, and he talked about how what he's doing with the bio industry is bringing in all these people into the city and filling up our hotels already. You know, so do we need something else that may delay that? You know, so think hard on that, and I would encourage you not to vote for that. Then my last thing is code enforcement. What I like to do is give you a challenge. This is a city pamphlet, the 12 elements to a good neighbor or to a great neighborhood. 10 of them are code enforcement things. Take this, go around your neighborhood, just using this, which is the basic information on code violations. Look for 10 to 20 of them in the general area. Report 2 of them through the app. Once it's reported, a case number is made up. Follow it through, see if it happens. This would be a good test on what the code enforcement is doing. You have 18 more to see if they're going to pick up those violations, if they're doing their job, or if they're out there doing what I see, they're not doing their jobs. They're not enforcing the codes as written now and the changes coming down. A simple little tool, simple little test. How many will do it? I hope all of you will do it, but, and then it's great to see Susan. I saw her on the campaign trail. She worked hard to get where she's at, and it's nice to have new faces in our county council. So welcome to West Valley City's meeting. Hopefully we'll see a lot more of you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Nicole, was there anyone online? Okay, was there anyone in the audience that wished to speak that did not have a chance to sign up? Okay, we will close the public comment period. Turn the time over to Mr. Pyle, our city manager. Did you have any comments for tonight?
Not tonight, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Turn it to the council. Did anyone have any comments for tonight? Okay, thank you. We'll now go to our first matter of business. Public hearing And we'll turn the time to Mr. Pyle to explain ZT 2023.
Thank you, ma'am. This request would amend section 77119 of the zoning ordinance and further some screening requirements for outside storage uses that occur on property adjacent to high image arterial streets. And the reason for this is to try to both extend the lifespan of various materials that are used for this purpose presently, as well as to improve the aesthetics and as I said, the durability of those uses. The screening here would consist of building or precast concrete walls with a minimum height of 6 feet. The minimum implies that there is a possibility in some particular situations where they could go to 8 feet. And I believe that's it for introduction, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Pyle before we open the public hearing? All right, we will now open the public hearing in regards to our ordinance change for ordinance 2315. Is there anyone that would like to speak to this issue? And give us your name and address, please.
Kelly Burchosh, 5954 West Zina Circle. I'm curious to this. Why do we not have a meeting that's televised for the community to be able to see the open transparency of what goes on here? Of these meetings as far as changing zones and this, I would like to see that changed into this form that the public deserves to see and hear and be part of this to vote on. And not just yourselves, but we should be informed to be able to understand this more. I mean, this is the biggest problem that we are coming across more and more is the clarification of government behind closed doors. And transparency is the key. Why are we not being transparent to allow the public to be able to hear question answering? That's what I guess my question is, why is this not a question answering form for the public to be here and to be able to say yes or no to? But why can't we be more transparent? That's it.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak to this issue? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing portion of this application, and I'll turn it to the council for comments or a motion for ordinance 23-15.
I'd motion to approve ordinance 2315.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And this is a great time for me to give my spiel about how we study these issues the week before they're put on our regular meeting. The study session is broadcast live, and anyone is welcome to watch it and then can come the next week with informed questions. It is at 4:30 every Tuesday, and you're more than welcome to view that online anytime. All right, we will now turn the time to Mr. Pyle for the explanation of application ZT3 2023. Mr.
Thank-
Pyle?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. So the applicant, Mr. Scott Saby, representing Hollywood Hustler Salt Lake LLC, is requesting an amendment to the Title VII, sections 103 and 6301 of the zoning ordinance to remove the definition for lingerie store and to remove lingerie store from the commercial and manufacturing use table. Just a little background on that. Currently, lingerie stores are allowed in particular zoning areas that are commercial, as well as a couple of overlay areas. However, they are also prohibited from others, such for example, is this sorry, not prohibited. I was thinking of the city center zone where they actually, it was where the definition of the lingerie store or definition for that was originally put forth back in 2015. So that is one it's allowed in, not allowed in most residential areas. Point being that city makes zoning changes and considers reasons for doing that quite often. This one was considered as recently as 2015, like I mentioned, so just shortly 8 years ago. And with that, we'll turn this zoning consideration back to the council for opening for the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the council have questions before we open the public hearing? Seeing none, we will open the public hearing for ordinance 23-16. Is there anyone that would wish to speak to this item?
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Scott Savy. I'm an attorney at Fabian Van Cott, and I am here to speak on this matter.
Can we get a mailing address?
Sure. 95 South State Street, Suite 2300 84111.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So I wanted to clarify that my clients don't have an objection to the code as it is generally written or how it applies to them. As I think you are all aware, their store is open and operating. The problem with the code that we have is that this addition creates an additional definition aside from what's already done in the sexually oriented business and those related things that addresses a piece of clothing like the materials in a sexually oriented business. It's like saying you can't sell a dress. So lingerie, as it's sold in Walmart, Kmart, Macy's, in the mall, up and down the street, should not be restricted per se. There are, and I've gone through this with the city's attorney, Mr. Bunderson, about the constitutional issues about it violating both First and 14th Amendments. But as a practical issue, you already have codes in place that address all of the issues that relate to a sexually oriented business, that regulate those under the code in a separate section. And then you create one that's called a lingerie store, lingerie being a piece of clothing, and then import those other issues. And so, as I said, the store's there, it's open, it has everything in it, sells jackets and dresses and athletic gear and everything, all kinds of clothing items, but it can't sell lingerie, even though Walmart does and Kmart does. And so we're not trying to change the overall code. We're trying to change what we perceive to be an error with the addition of this in the code, because it's combining a piece of clothing with sexually oriented business materials, and they shouldn't be combined. So if you don't have any questions for me, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak to this issue?
Thanks for the opportunity again. Kelly Bertosh, 5954 West Sinai Circle. I agree with this gentleman, his comment. Are we morale officers here now? Who are we to tell somebody what they can and cannot wear? You can buy this stuff at a regular store. I mean, it's no different than buying a pair of underwear or brassiere for women. It's geared up for adults. You know what? What adults do behind adult doors between each other is none of our business. We're not the morale police department, and there shouldn't be one. You know, this is America, where we have the right to be able to enjoy our freedoms. And you guys are slowly taking our freedoms away by, oh, it's immoral. That's none of your business. We're talking about other people have other fantasies, have other ideas, and it's not for us to judge them. I could care less what other people want to wear. I don't want to go into the stores if I don't need to participate in it. And that's great. That's the greatest thing about it. But if people make the choice that are at the right age, that can go into an adult store and buy whatever they would wish to choose to get, it's really not up for us to make that decision on them. That's what America's about. We need to keep our freedoms and not take them away. So stuff like this, by changing the zoning to try to affect an adult clothing store, is ridiculous. We're America here, folks. Let's get on with the band of supporting America. This is somebody's dream to build a business. It might not be the same business I or yourself might not want to be into, but it's not our business to choose that. That's for them, for an adult that's 21 years old or whatever, to be able to bring whatever they want into their own homes or into their own vehicles or however they want to do it, as long as they're not doing it in front of children. It's not our choice. Let's leave things alone and move on.
Okay, thank you. Was there someone else? Boy, you are really hiding behind computer screens. Thank you for standing up.
Kyle Erb. I've known many of you for many years now. So I live over on Black Granite Way near the fitness center. And a few of my neighbors actually brought something to my attention this week that I thought was concerning at first. And when we dug into it, we really took the time to look at the minutes, you know, from the meetings that the commissioners had, and we wanted to understand what the actual proposal was. And I actually agree with what most of what Mr. Sabiak said. It looks like the definition of lingerie as it is written and was passed back in 2015 was poorly written, because it lumps a bunch of things together that are not necessarily related. And so I actually do agree with them in that area. My fear with simply deleting that section and leaving everything else alone, though, is that it leaves actually a big loophole, not for lingerie stores. That's not even my concern. My concern is about adult content, you know, whatever kind of accessories that people might sell, which it sounds like they sell, but it's kept behind a closed curtain, which I think is a better way to approach it if you're going to have something like that in the store. So we were looking at this and we found that in section 17, it does have a definition that it partway gets there, right? So specifically in section 17, where it talks about books, magazines, other media, and it specifically talks about, well, adult content in general, but it does not bring up the things that are in section 7. So if we are going to delete section 7, I would encourage you to push back a little bit on this current proposal and ask for some more attention be given to section 17. So if we're going to delete section 7, I propose that we would move the specific wording that addresses adult novelties, marital or sexual aids, that sort of definition be moved under section 17, which it seems to fit well with, and it's completely left out otherwise. So the main concern that we had here is, well, there is one particular business that came up often in our discussion, and it's a Adam and Eve store that's next to Granger High School, and it has very publicly displayed mannequins with S&M gear and all sorts of things publicly displayed, and it's within walking distance of 2 schools. And you know, the junior high school kids, they don't really need to see that stuff. They can learn about it when they get older. So that is something that I think that if we had it codified a bit better, perhaps it would encourage stores like that to put things in their windows that are a little bit more tasteful, and keep things that are for adults only in a little bit less visible areas. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Was there anyone else that wished to address the council?
Hello, my name is Terry North, 6431 Cottontail Drive. I was involved with this discussion. We've talked about it a lot, and I'm sorry, your name?
Scott Saby.
Scott Saby. Mr. Saby was absolutely awesome in trying to represent his client as a Walmart. Like the last time I walked into a Walmart and saw crotchless panties. I'm sorry, I could name all kinds of stuff that definitely are not in a Walmart, and they're definitely adult oriented. We're not against selling those. We realize there are those people in our community who want it, who are adults, who do have the right to be able to acquire those things if that's what they choose as adults. But trying to open this up, and in his comments, he said up to 25% of this store is going to be adult novelties. That's a little bit much. I mean, that's not a lingerie store as lingerie is defined. And I couldn't find another definition for lingerie in our code. And so I went to the next best thing, which is Webster's, and they just define it as intimate apparel, which basically underwear. There's a lot of people here who are of the LDS faith, who have a store that they go into for intimate apparel, specifically for them. I don't want to regulate something that I don't agree with that could come back and hurt somebody else that I may or may not agree with. I agree, we need some freedom, but it has to be time, place, and manner. We need to look at this code and adjust. I agree it was written poorly, but we do need to adjust it, not just wipe it out and forget about the rest. All we're doing is making bad worse. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Was there anyone else that wished to address this? Yep, thank you.
Thank you. I'm Kim Chandler on 1696 West 3100 South in West Valley. Be really brief in my comments. Just wanted to add that I agree with the 2 gentlemen who've spoken just before me. I think the issue here is not that people are trying to shut down stores or anything like that, but I do think we should be able to zone appropriately so that our kids don't have to walk out of school and be exposed to things that are not appropriate for their age. I don't think that there should be anything controversial about that. And so would also support, moving the language to the appropriate section, making whatever adjustments are needed to address any constitutional concerns. But that simply striking it would be the wrong move. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Was there anyone else that wished to speak?
Jim Visak. I would propose that you guys postpone this, take it back to study meeting, have staff look into making the changes. Because I also agree that an adult should be able to express themselves how they want to express themselves. There has been a lot of pushback with Adam and Eve being so close to the 2 schools. But at the time when they came in, they met all the ordinances as written. And so if this is something that needs to be cleaned up, I would hope you guys take a little bit more time and polish it a little bit before voting on it. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we will close the public comment period, public hearing, and turn it to the council for discussion or a motion.
Could we, if we pass this ordinance, could we put on a study agenda to discuss the novelty concerns? Or do we?
I think well, do you want to answer it, Mr. Pyle?
Sure, yes. Changing of ordinances is never the last stop, really, frankly, for any policy or community issues going on. So yes, you could pass that and then have further discussion about this or other portions of the concern or the question as it was brought up.
I would motion to approve. Ordinance our application ZT 3/2023 with suggestion that we add to the study meeting, our next study meeting, or when it's available, the novelty concern.
Second.
So Mr. Harmon has his hand up, so we have a first and a second, but let's take comment from Councilman Harmon.
Thank you, Mayor. I just think if we're gonna make a text change and we're gonna study it further, let's just wait and study it further and we may find there's other text change we want to make or suggest. And so that's my suggestion. I know we've got a first and a second, but I would suggest we just hold off. It's not like it's an emergency. We get this text change approved tonight. So that's my suggestion.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
I agree with Scott that there's no rush to pass this. Let's get it as close to right as we can before we make any changes to our ordinances.
And I'm fine with that. I can withdraw my
So
motion.
I'd like to move then that we continue this item to an unknown date and have more study and discussion of this and consider other options.
Second.
All right, are you good with that? Because you were the second on the first motion.
It had to be seconded so we could discuss it.
Okay, we're good then. Okay. All right, if you're okay with that, then I will turn it to well, was there any more discussion?
Nicole, is that appropriate?
Yes, sir. That would be appropriate.
Okay, so I'll turn it to Ms. Kamic for a roll call vote.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion for continuance to no date certain approved.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll now turn to resolution 23-72. Mr. Pyle?
Thank you, ma'am. A resolution has been requested that would grant consent to the Salt Lake County Convention and Tourism Assessment Area for the purposes of raising revenue through an increase in taxation at the hotels specifically. This money would then be used to promote particular events and promotional campaigns, that sort of thing, specific to the hotels in the area. The council's had a number of discussions about this, and I know that there is some hesitancy in approaching it. So I just would add the note that if the council didn't want to decide tonight, speaking with the CTAA people, I think you're aware of this, but just in case you're not, that you do have until June 6th before they have to have a final decision.
Okay. All right, thank you. I'll now turn this resolution to the council for comments, discussion, or a vote. I mean, a motion.
I would move that we approve resolution 23-72.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the item? Okay, seeing none, I'll turn it to Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
No.
Councilman Harmon,
No.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
No.
Motion fails.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that we continue this item since again, we have we do not have a majority to say yes or no, that we continue this until June 6th.
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? Okay, seeing none, Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
No.
Councilman Hune,
No.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Mayor Ling.
No.
Motion fails.
Okay. So I'm
Don't think
looking
we're
way
getting
back
through.
into history, and I took a note for myself because I knew I would forget this every time it happens. And Nicole, please correct me or add to me if I'm wrong here, but so, and I have a section here, 2-1-113. Does that sound familiar? If no other motion is made, or if the second motion also does not receive 4 votes, the chair shall ask for a motion to continue the matter to a date certain within a 30 calendar day time period. If no motion for continuance is made, the chair shall state the item has been continued to no date certain, but shall be placed on another city council agenda for consideration within 30 calendar days.
Thank you.
So that's an ordinance is.
Yes. And okay, also looking back there to make sure I wasn't saying anything out of line from the city attorney, says that's correct.
All right, so step one is to ask for, I didn't take notes, sorry. If there's anyone that would like to make a motion to continue to a date specific.
This motion just failed. wasn't it?
Yep.
Right, so you probably could count that as that motion, I would
Okay.
guess. And then the next step would be if no motion for continuance is made, the chair shall state that the item has been continued to no date certain, but shall be placed on another city council agenda for consideration within 30 calendar days.
So that's what we're gonna do, I guess. We will move it to a date uncertain within the next 30 days, but it will show up on another council agenda. Good enough? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll now go to resolution 23-73. Mr. Pyle?
Thank you, ma'am. This is a customer requested work agreement at 3650 South Power Burial. That's the project with Rocky Mountain Power. The customer requesting this is us. And we're looking to get overhead power lines buried on 27th West between 3650 South and 3200 West. This project would cost just over $280,000 and use transportation sales tax funds.
Okay, thank you. I will now turn this to the council for either discussion or a motion. Resolution 23-73.
I move for approval of resolution 23-73.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We now have our consent agenda, which is a right of way. So these are pretty common. We do them all the time. Is there anyone that needs any explanation on this one? Okay, I will now turn it to the council for resolution 23-74.
Move to approve resolution 23-74.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Did anyone have any questions on this one? Seeing none, Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. We do not have a need for a closed session tonight, so we just have one more action item.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and we stand adjourned.